welcome back to the Found Frequency Podcast, your space for that alignment, expansion, and of course, unstoppable energy. I am your host, Fallon, and mindset mentor. And today I am speaking to you from the beautiful Baja, Mexico. So, usually I really love to drop these episodes on a Wednesday when I'm in America, but it was just impossible this week. It was just kind of chaotic, lots of driving. If you've been watching my stories, you definitely know why. We went all through California, went to see some friends, then ended up on the road and going all the way to the bottom of Baja. And finally landed last night, which I'm pretty excited to stop moving, in this little beautiful slice of paradise called La Ventana. Now, if you're not familiar with La Ventana is also a very windy place. That's what it's known for. And it was just kind of a bit too windy and too chaotic yesterday for me to record. I really did want to record and show you guys this beautiful ocean here, but you'll just have to keep an eye out on my stories because it is way too windy and you wouldn't get, I wouldn't get the message across. So I want to go ahead and jump in. A few of you, I'm sure, have seen, I want to talk about these 37 truths. There's so many more that I've got, so many little energetic gems and things that I've really lived by the last year and noticed a really big difference in my life. And I want to kind of get to the root of a few of them and, get your pen, get your paper, write them down. They're pretty juicy. But that's what we're going to be diving into today in today's episode. Just a little bit of background on these different truths. And before I forget, I haven't announced it yet on socials, but I have just officially, organized a new experience coming up on Monday of next week. It's a Telegram group for my ladies that kind of feel like they're running on autopilot, feeling a bit disconnected from their intuition, knowing that there's more out there, but they're not really accessing it right now. And that happens to be my specialty. So I've got an epic experience, an 8-day Telegram experience starting next Monday. It's going to be kind of like 8 days of revamping your energy and remembering who the fuck you are. So perfect timing before the holidays, perfect timing before the new year. If you haven't been in one of my containers before, I would say, even the perfect taste of my energy. It's like a little lick, right? But it's basically a bit of an identity shifter, right? So if that's something you're interested in, jump into my DMs or send me the word spark, and I will make sure I save you a spot there and send you the link to join that. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm pretty excited about it. Now, let's go ahead and jump into these 37 truths. I'm just going to go down through them, kind of explain them a bit. And yeah, I think pen and paper would be great for you. You can write them down. You can really go back to them. I have so many others that I always say float around in my world. And if you're new to my world, this is just kind of a taste, like I said, but it'll be a great start for you to start implementing some things. So obviously, number one, desires is your roadmap, right? So you need to stop apologizing for your desires. I went pretty in depth in this in a different episode, but basically what I'm telling you here is your desires aren't random, right? They're not even superficial or too much or unrealistic. It's their messages. Like, I look at my desires as divine downloads from the universe. It's like the language of your higher self, right? They're like these intuitive breadcrumbs. And when you stop apologizing for actually wanting more, when you stop shrinking down your dreams and matching someone else's comfort level, because that's what it is, your life is going to start rearranging itself around your soul, around your truth, around the direction that you're meant to be going in. The deeper piece here is like your desires, in my, opinion, help you meet your soul because you're going to depths you would have never gone to before. It's like always going back to the why behind my desire, not the surface level why, but the soul level why. And I think that the more we tune into our divine desires, the more we start to ask the better questions, right? The more things come up, the more ahas we have. You find layers of your identity that you didn't even know existed, and you unlock your potential, right? You find your next evolution of self, So desires are not greedy. They're guidance. They are direction. They're divine direction. So stop apologizing for them. Okay. That's number one. Number two, Radical responsibility will change your life. I don't mean like the culture hustle responsibility. I mean like not work harder or even push more. What I mean by this is your energetic field, like the kind that shifts your perspective. And in this way, like I'm no longer going to outsource my power to my circumstances, kind of radical responsibility. I'm not a victim of the past. It's like I am the creator. I'm not the puppet. We don't have other things dictating what's going on in our life. We actually do that. And when we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, we can actually recognize that without shame. That you're co-creating every experience in your life so far, not necessarily because you did something wrong. You just didn't have that knowledge. But it's like once you've learned something, once you know this, it's so powerful because you can utilize it, right? You can start to look at your energy and your beliefs and your circumstances. And if you're not happy with your circumstances, what can you shift internally to change that? It's like when it clicks, you're going to realize that you've created this reality all along. You can change it. You've built it. You can rebuild it, right? You have allowed it. So you can always, every second of the day, choose differently. Radical responsibility is this emotional adulthood, right? It's identity maturity. It's the moment you're going to stop waiting for someone else to fix your life and decide to command it. It's a really, really powerful principle, let's say, to tune into. Obviously, number 3, energy is going to be louder than your effort. Effort alone can't create this next level for you. Okay. If every burnout woman on the planet, like if this were the case, they'd be wildly wealthy, right? I mean, I used to work my ass off, and it's not that I didn't have success, but for the effort that was put in, the energetics just wasn't right? Effort isn't going to be the driver here. Energy is. Manifestation, especially, is going to respond to your frequency, not your to-do list, right? And if you think about it in this term, like the women who take the exact same action, or one who takes action from alignment and belief and trust, and one's doing it from pressure and fear. It's like, I hope this works too. It's going to work so you don't. I feel like when people are doing effort over energy, this is when you're doing like 60, 70-hour weeks. This is when you're overexerting yourself because there's a disbelief there. You're not putting the energy behind the thing. You're not energetically backing yourself, if that makes sense. So the action could be the same, but the energy behind it is not, so the results are going to reflect that. It's why you can be doing all the right things and nothing moves. Okay. Prime example. It's like you can write all the affirmations, but nothing happens because what's the energy behind the affirmation that you're writing? You're writing it because you feel like you should be writing it, or you're writing it because you honestly energetically back it and you believe it. There's a huge difference. Another one, number 4, if it costs you your nervous system, it's too expensive, right? If it costs you your peace, to put it in simpler terms, too expensive in my mind. I used to override every single signal my body would give me. Fatigue, pushed through it, right? Stress didn't exist. I ignored it. It existed. It was definitely happening in my body. Intuition, your body's telling you, it's fucking a red flag waving it at you that something's off, something's not right. And I used to override all these things because I thought it was the thing I was meant to be doing, or I was trying to people please. But your body's just going to get louder and louder, and then it's going to speak, it's going to scream, really, until you listen, until you wake up. Or some people will just live with all these things going on in their body, thinking that it's a physical ailment when it actually happens in the energetic body first. So that's going a little bit too deep for this episode, but I want you to understand that your body's always speaking to you, right? Your nervous system's operating your entire life, really. If it's dysregulated, nothing's really going to work out the way you want it to. Your intuition kind of turns off, and your creativity is going to stall. Magnetism, it's not really going to be there, and you're not really going to be receiving a lot of guidance. Why? Because you're not operating from that. You're in like fight or flight kind of mode, right? You're not in the right vibration to get the downloads, right? But now when I look at it, it's like I don't make any decisions when I'm in a panic or fight or flight mode. I really tune into myself and my body first. and then I move from there, right? I regulate my nervous system, I regulate my energy first. It's a very, very big game changer and something very, very simple you can do starting right now. One of my favorites, number 5, saying no is sacred. I've put this up on my socials before, but like every no that you honestly speak when you're listening to yourself, you're trusting yourself, is saying yes to something deeper. If you say yes to everything that comes your way, even if it's not aligned, there's no room for the right thing to come in, right? You're overbooked, right? You're overcrowded. It's like saying no to a misaligned, like in my line of work, like a client, somebody that was dysregulated, somebody that didn't have this self trust in themselves might say yes to everyone coming their way, even though they energetically know that's a no, right? Or saying yes to, I mean, I would say easiest example here is your partner, right? Saying yes or no to some, not saying no to somebody that's maybe not exactly what you're looking for, but you're going for it anyways because you feel like you're in lack. It's just the wrong way to do things. People pleasing. Like it took me a long time to learn how to say no because I am a chronic recovered, I would say, people pleaser. So that's something to keep in mind. And learning it, don't learn it the hard way. Like, listen to me. I've learned these things. I've burnt myself out. I've lost my voice. It's kind of like when you start to resent people. It's like, great example, you're at work, somebody has errands to run, or something comes up for someone, and you're a say yes person, you do them a favor, but then you get taken advantage of, and then you keep saying yes to them, and then you actually resent them, even though you agreed to it. You know what I mean? So we don't even want to waste time or energy on that. Just know that a no is sacred when it's in alignment, right? Following number 6, the intuitive nudge when it makes no sense. This is probably one of my favorites, and I think this is probably one of the hardest ones for women to grasp, or anybody who's stuck in this logical mind to grasp, right? But intuition doesn't speak the language of logic. What do I mean by that? It speaks energy. That is your intuition. It's coming from your soul, this deep core intuitive knowing, right? This connection that you've got with universal intelligence. So your intuition might guide you towards choices that really don't make sense on paper. Actually, little highlight here, it will guide you to things that don't make sense on paper, but it will make perfect sense for your soul. Growth isn't linear, right? Expansion isn't logical. It just isn't. And quantum shifts, and if you're trying to up level and do these big things, they're not going to be like tiny step by steps. That's just simply how it does. It just doesn't work that way. Your intuition is moving beyond what you can actually physically see, and it taps into what you're becoming, right? This does, when I look at desires or where I'm meant to be, or this next level identity, it already exists, but it's my job to take action in the physical plane to bring me to that reality, if that makes sense. Every illogical decision that I've made, and I've made many, as you ladies know, I moved countries many times, businesses, like following this internal knowing, let's say, this internal truth before having a plan, has honestly led me down a very magical path. Intuition is like shortcutting you through the timelines because it's the direction you're actually meant to be going. Where I feel like logical decisions can create very, I'm not saying you can't do things logically, but it's very predictable, right? It's not really our evolution. There's no growth there, or is not the same kind of growth, let's say. Intuitive decisions to me create extraordinary ones. Okay, and that's one of my favorites. That's number 6. I'm not going to go in depth into all of them because I feel like we'll be here for hours, but I am going to keep going down the line because I did promise you, ladies or men, who's ever listening to this podcast episode, that I'll get through 37 of them, even though I've got bajillions. Let's go with 7. Okay, so that was 6. 7. Self-trust is a skill, not a personality trait. What do I mean by this? You're not born trusting yourself, right? You build it. You build trust by taking consistent action. You build trust in yourself by doing things that you say you're going to do, following your promises. Every decision that you commit to, every boundary that you do honor, every promise you keep, that's building yourself trust in yourself, right? If you've got a very weak habit, or if you're not in the right realm of learning how to put boundaries up for yourself, you're going to have a low self-trust, right? Because you're going to tell this person, no, I don't want to be treated that way. And then when it comes down to it, you still allow yourself to be treated that way, if that makes sense. Number 8, your life changes the second you stop negotiating your standards. This kind of has a lot to do with the boundaries, but it's like when you decide to raise the bar, you refuse to lower it again. You don't just raise it for a month and then drop back down to the version of you that you were, right? The universe can help you calibrate this way because you're sending a very clear signal. If you're like raising the bar, dropping the bar, raising the bar, dropping the bar, you're not sending a signal. You're like fucking up, down, and all around. Nobody knows what's going on. Number 9, you can't create a new reality with the same identity. You can't. It's your habits and your identity and your self-concept really that keeps you in the same place. It keeps you stuck, let's say. You don't move, right? Because you're doing all the same things. When I think of any type of manifesting and manifesting what we want to manifest, because obviously you're manifesting all the time, but up leveling and hitting these levels that we haven't even seen yet that are already in the energetic realm, it's like it is pure identity work, right? If you want different experiences, you need to become the version of you who naturally receives them, meaning you need to have different patterns, different ways of receiving, different ways of talking. That's just simply how this stuff works. Your environment, number 10, is shaping you more than you realize. People, places, energy. All of these is either going to be expanding you or contracting you, right? Audit your surroundings like your life depends on it because it does. Your surroundings is a huge part of this work. And if you are someone that doesn't have a close circle, the online space is great for that. When a few years ago, when I first got into, I started putting myself in the right rooms, right? Started speaking different conversations with people in the position that I wanted to be in. And then you choose your environment. It doesn't mean you have to have the neighborhood full of people that you want to be with. But if you're noticing even your relationship with your friends and things gets a little weary when you start to up level, then we've got to do some tweaking there. Okay. Number 11, clarity comes from movement, not overthinking. Yes, clarity. I say action first, clarity second. You've got to take the action. You don't know. Anything that you've predicted in your head is made up in your head. You've got to take action and see if this is the right path, the right decision, the right course, the right whatever. You don't really know. You can energetically back it and you can decide that, hey, this is the direction I'm going, but you've got to move. Okay. Universe responds, number 12, to commitment, not contemplation. Again, this kind of goes hand in hand with that other one where it's like once you decide and you really decide and you back it energetically as a belief, life rearranges. But if you're on this maybe, if you're saying, yes, I want to go forward, I want to do this, but your actions and everything in your reality is saying something different, it's confusing, right? So we need to back it and go. 13, you're allowed to evolve faster than people. You're allowed to do things illogical, basically. It's like, let people be confused. Remember that this is your movie, this is your timeline, and let it be yours. Stop listening to outside influence. Do your thing. 14, your emotions are indicators, not dictators. Oh, I love this one so much. Feel your emotions. I'm not saying suppress your feelings by any means, but don't let them drive the car, right? Emotional mastery is knowing the difference between those things. You can feel your feelings, you can drop into them, you can express them, but they're not going to be the dictators and they're not going to be the ones calling the shots, right? Because then we're operating from a lower vibration, depending on the emotion, of course. 15, your body holds more than your mind. Yeah, your body knows, man. It doesn't lie. Your body, learn its language. Start tuning in. If you've got a sore back, what does that mean? And you've got chronic pain, what are you holding on to? Who have you not forgiven? You can dive so deep into this work. It's fantastic. 16, rest is a strategy, not a weakness. This one was another one. It took me a while to really get. It was like, if I sat still, I felt guilty. If I wasn't moving, it's like that whole got to do laundry, got to do all the dishes, got to do all this, and then I can relax. It's basically your nervous system like running on fight or flight, right? When you're resting intentionally, you have time to refuel. Your body, like your energy is just so potent, right? You're basically burning the candle at both ends when you don't know how to rest intentionally. 17, scarcity is learned. Abundance is remembered. This is one of my favorites, something that I'm going to go a lot more in depth in 2026 when it comes to the abundant mindset and prosperity-minded people and people that are super successful and basically the chat about money, which is, I feel like, a hot topic always, because your natural state is abundance. Like you're meant to be overflowing, you're meant to have all these things. Scarcity is what the world taught you, either your parents, limitations, society. It's all these other beliefs and opinions and things that were never meant to be yours. So when you can unlearn it, your life changes. It does. It changes in all the best ways. So that's one I'll go more in depth on, probably in a later episode. 18. Your identity expands every time you choose the aligned yes over the comfortable no. So this kind of goes back to the yes means no. But growth requires a bit of friction, right? So I want you to lean into that. 19, confidence is a byproduct, right? You don't wait for confidence to show up. I believe we're all confident from the start. You know, think about when you're a little kid. You don't care what you wear. You don't even care what you're doing. You're just doing your thing. You don't have outside influence on you, and you don't pay attention to it if you do, for the most part, when you're, pretty young. And I feel like the more we take actions towards our goals, the more we're in alignment, the more we do things that support our soul and our vision, the more confident we become, right? It's, again, building that self-trust. 20, your timeline, you're right on track, right? Your timeline's not fixed. If you decide that you want to completely change your career, completely change your life, completely change your relationship, completely change whatever you got going on in your life right now, you don't have to wait 10 years to do it. It's your timeline, right? You can make a very big change by making a very, drastic decision to change the entire course of your life. And you can do that today. Switching timelines is literally as simple as shifting your thoughts and your standards and your energy. Number 21, your soul speaks in nudges before it speaks in lessons. Okay. It's basically this concept of, if you ignore the whisper, the universe is going to keep coming at you in all angles. So don't ignore it. Like, listen earlier. Things will just go a lot faster for you. 22, being misunderstood is a sign you're evolving. I think it's one of those concepts of like, this is how I look at it. I'm sure not everyone agrees with my opinions or my experiences or what's happened in my life, but what I portray is what I've gone through, and that's all I know, right? These are my lived experiences. These are my downloads. If you don't agree with it, I don't like, that's great. We're not meant to, connect. I don't even really have that come up. And it's not something I'm calling in, but I'm saying basically like your old world's not going to get you. And that's okay. They're not supposed to. This is a part of the evolution, right? 23, you magnetize more when you stop performing and you start being. Authenticity is the frequency of attraction. Just be you. I mean, this is a practice that I've even had to, I guess, learn to get better at by thinking about myself in this current environment, right? I am a beach bum at heart. I love it. And part of me was like, oh, maybe I don't go on camera because I'm at the beach right now and things are all chaotic and there's people all around. And I was just like, fuck it. No, this is me. I want to show my audience who I am. This is a big part of me, and I'll probably be at the beach quite a lot in the upcoming future. So it's kind of just what's the right wording? Trusting yourself? No, it's not even trusting yourself. It's kind of accepting yourself fully, right? All aspects of yourself. No one's going to be drawn to this 10% mask of you. They're drawn to you and your essence. But if you're not actually showing who you are in your essence, how are you going to meet the right people? How are you going to find your tribe, right? 24, your triggers are portals. This goes back to emotional mastery, but it's basically like, instead of avoiding any triggers that you have coming up, I want you to start exploring them. I tell my ladies, be the gentle observer, right? Your next level identity is going to be found usually through these lessons, right? What's triggering you? What do I need to work on? What's still upsetting me kind of vibes? It's like that kind of digging deeper. 25, your standards are going to speak louder. I mean, I spoke about standards before. Affirmations are going to mean nothing if your standards contradict them. It's, again, backing things energetically. It always goes back to the energy behind something. You can say affirmations all day long, but if you don't believe them, if you don't vibrate there, they're not going to do anything by just like writing them on a page or saying them out loud, right? Raise the standard and your life's going to follow. 26, your desires need direction, not doubt. Yeah, that's a big one. One thing is giving yourself permission for your desire. Another thing is like It's like changing the way you have this conversation, this narrative in your head, right? Instead of asking, how do I get there? Because the how is not our problem. It's not our part in this role. We're asking, who do I need to be? Okay, that's going to shift things dramatically for you. I love that question in the morning. Who do I need to be today to be XYZ, right? 27, you're allowed to outgrow the things that you once wanted. Evolution is not betrayal, let's say. It's evidence that you're moving. It's like that whole not feeling guilty for wanting more just because you've hit this goal. It's not even that you're not satisfied, it's that you're continually evolving. I had to switch the way I looked at this as well because I used to think people weren't satisfied where they are, and there are definitely aspects of that, but for your own evolution, it's like I want to continually be growing and continually learning, and I want to see how far I can get. I mean, we only have this one life, right? Why not? Let's see how far we can go. 28, your expansion requires some space, both internally and externally. So when I talk about decluttering, this has a lot to do with the energetics. I don't mean it in just the physical sense. It's a very emotional thing, energetic and relational thing. Okay. I can go more in depth in that in another episode. Just let me know. 29, people can only meet you at the depth that they've met themselves. I love this one so much. This kind of goes back to one of the other numbers where it's like, if we're showing 10% of who we are with this mask, let's say, we're only going to attract 10% of that individual, right? If we're a super deep person and we're not even showing that to the world, we're just keeping it all inside, no one's going to know that. So we're not going to attract the right people, the right tribe. So it's like, basically, in a nutshell, stop seeking deep connections from shallow places, if that makes sense. 30, your intuition strengthens when you stop over explaining yourself. Give me 1 second. And we're back. I am sorry. Like I said, I am surrounded by people and places. Not people and places, people and dogs. So I had to check on something, but I'm back. Okay, let's jump into it. 30. Your intuition strengthens when you stop over explaining yourself. It's like the more you justify your moves, the weaker your soul becomes. So I want you to, it's kind of one of those things like you leak your energy out. I could go more in depth into this when it comes to our goals and our desires and where we want to be. And sometimes it's a lot more potent when it's an infant to keep it to yourself kind of thing. Yeah, I feel like that could be an episode on its own. 31, gratitude is the doorway to receiving more. And I'm not even talking about like just saying thank you for the sake of saying thank you, but I'm saying like be fucking grateful. It's like don't just journal three things out because somebody told you to be grateful. Like feel the gratitude, be in the moment, right? That is the point. The point behind all of this is the feeling, the energetics that you bring to it, right? The kind that vibrate into your being. Because the more you're grateful for things, the more you're vibrating at a higher frequency, and the more of those things come into your realm because you're a match for them, right? 32, quantum leaps happen when your identity and your actions match your desires. It's like we've got to first turn up the volume, let's say, on our inner world in order for our outer world to align, right? It's like I like to explain to people, we're not trying to bring our dreams, our goals, and our desires down to meet us at the frequency that we're at. They're already vibrating at a certain level in the quantum realm, right? Instead, we're actually raising our vibration, raising our own frequency to meet them. So we're a match. And when we're a match, that's when we see all these tangible things in our reality. Okay. Again, I can go more in depth into any of these if you guys are curious. 33. This one's a fun one. Most of your limitations, they are not real. They're inherited. They're not even real. Limitations are not even real. You're not limited. Basically, you're conditioned. And when you learn that and when you understand it and when you rewrite yourself, you no longer have these limits. You clear them, let's say. You break that. You break that lineage of conditioning. It's pretty powerful shit. 34, you're allowed to start over. You are allowed to start over at any moment. Reinvention isn't a crisis, okay? It's a calling. You can rewrite your story at any point in time. You're on your movie, your timeline, your book. You decide, right? 35, money responds to safety, right? It doesn't respond to desperation. It's not in the lack. It's like, this is all about regulating your energy, and it will reflect in your finances. It just does. That's how this stuff works. 36, you don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you believe you can have. Again, energetics and beliefs. It goes deeper, right? If we upgrade our belief, we're going to shift our reality. 37, the most magnetic version of you, who is, I would say, your truest self, your soulful self, your fully expressed self, your unapologetic self, is your superpower, right? That's how you're going to magnetize to what is aligned for you to magnetize to, if that makes sense. It's, it's just one of those things. And I think I already said that. Yeah, you can rewrite your life at any moment in time. One decision, one moment, one shift in frequency, and you can change your entire life. It's amazing. So those are the 37 frequencies. This was a bit of a winded episode, literally. But I wanted you guys to not know, think that I was forgetting about you. Don't forget, I do have that epic Telegram experience. If you want to jump in on that, just shoot me a DM or send me the word spark, and I can get you all set up in that experience. It's going to be an 8-day experience before Christmas. Pretty fucking excited about it, just to turn the lights back on, really get you in the right frequency. Before 2026 even starts. If these 37 frequencies hit you, if you want more explanation on any, like I said, jump into my DMs. If this episode lit up something for you, like it, subscribe it, share it, do all the things. It really does help it get out there to the right crowd and the right tribe, let's say, the right people. And that's, why I'm here. That's literally why I jump on here every week. If you are feeling that pull and nudge, to join me for that 8-day program, just let me know. Jump into my DMs at fallonmichaela.co. And let's do the damn thing. Let's shift our frequency before 2026. As always, it's such a pleasure having you all. I'm going to love and leave you there, and I will catch you next week. Bye.